Ski to you all, and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montia, occasionally known as the mayor of former mustaches, I guess I could say. This man next to me, definitely the vice mayor of chin hair and your thunderstick, the one and only Jesse Friedman. Jesse, the Bats woke up this weekend. We got a chance to see it a little bit on Friday. However, it was just too little, too late, losing that game 10-9. But boy, did they wake up in the last two games of this series, and Mighty Marte had himself a monster game there on Sunday, which is something that was very relieving to see after the stretch that he had post hitting streak.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was if Ketel's 2-run homer in the ninth inning yesterday saved the Diamondbacks season, or if it was the fact that you shaved your mustache on this show on Friday. But clearly one of those two things.
Something
right?
had to have helped
the
here. The
Diamondbacks turning this what looked like a series loss into a series split. That means they're destined for greatness, Derek. It means they're headed back to the World Series. I can
undefeated,
feel it right
undefeated since I shaved off my mustache on this show.
That's fair.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean maybe this one series doesn't necessarily mean all that much, but yeah, it was really big for the D-backs. I mean to be able to bounce back the way that they did, and as you said, they're starting to score some runs on a consistent basis. 24 runs over the last 3 games after scoring 9 runs in their previous 6 games before that. The Bats seem to have woken up. You still would probably like to see production from more of a variety of players, maybe.
Sure.
Like I think Jock Peterson and Christian Walker and Mighty Marte, they all played pretty big roles in the offense over the weekend. Those are the 3 guys who have kind of been hitting for most of the season up to this point. But yeah, absolutely still good signs for them. And they've played so terribly at Citi Field over the last few years that even a series split actually feels like kind of a win for them.
You said a series split would be a win in this series when we talked about it on Thursday prior to the beginning of the series against the Mets. We know that they were struggling, but we also know that the Mets kind of were, they had their own rally call, right? They had their own moment of things have kind of hit rock bottom for their season, and they needed to hopefully turn things around, especially after some of their personnel issues and things kind of being a little embarrassing for that franchise. And they answered back, but as much as it felt like this Diamondbacks team really wasn't performing. They did only lose the first 2 games by 1 run each, and I think that they were in every game of this series. They did manage to salvage the series split, and that does feel like a big difference. I think leaving New York, losing this series, or getting swept could have lasting ramifications on this team. As sad as that is to say, they have a easier stretch of their schedule coming up, and the last thing they needed was to doubt if they could even beat teams that were struggling like they are right now. But the way that they put it to them the last 2 games, it was very nice to see. Let's take a look at the count presented by Desert Financial Credit Union. We'll take a look at the numbers for the whole series. Diamondbacks outscored the Mets 26-22. They got out hit by the Mets 40 hits to 33. And then runners in scoring position, both teams miraculously had 38 runners in scoring position in this series. I don't even understand how this stuff works
38
sometimes.
opportunities.
38 opportunities. Excuse me. 38 opportunities with runners in scoring position doesn't mean that was men on base necessarily, but Mets went 11 for 38, Diamondbacks 9 for 38. Starting pitching ERA, atrocious for both teams, 6.30 for the Mets, 6.75 for the Diamondbacks, and that includes literally one starter going out there and having a 0 earned runs on a 0 innings pitch night. Then the relief pitching, of course, also not great. 5.63 for the Mets, 4.19 for the Diamondbacks. But very much makes sense looking at these numbers, how these 2 teams split a 4-game series. Very similar numbers on both sides. And the pitching was not good for really either team in the series.
Slade Ciccone came out and gave the D-backs put them, I think, in a pretty good position in the Saturday game. It was only 4 2/3 innings, but he only gave up 1 run. which we've seen a good amount of that from him over the course of his short major league career, where he's maybe not going super deep into games, or maybe you don't want him going super deep into games, but he can be effective for a few innings at a time. He certainly was able to do that on Saturday. And then Brandon Pfaadt just continues to kind of allow all of his hits at the same time
in one inning,
which is not exactly a recipe for success. Once again, it feels like he pitched a lot better than his 6 innings and 4-run line would lead you to believe. I believe on Statcast, his expected ERA this season is at 2.75 or somewhere around there, which is far, far lower than his actual ERA at this point. But he continues to at least the eye test continues to look pretty good. And at least I think over the course of time, this is probably going to balance out. At some point, he's going to strand a few base runners, a few more than he has to this point in the season. And if he continues to rack up strikeouts at the rate that he is right now, and keep guys off the base paths via walks and via hits, you're probably going to see that ERA come down at some point.
I mean, that is the tale of Brandon Pfaadt's season so far. Not only has he absolutely given them quality starts, but even when he does falter, it's for 1 inning. And then what we've also seen is an ability to bounce back, and we've talked about that being a quality trait. I guess you could say that, Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen tend to have quite a bit, that ability to go out there, have things not go your way in the 3rd inning and the 4th inning, and then still give 2 more strong innings after that, right? Which just can save the bullpen. Brandon Pfaadt went 6 innings. He gave up 5 hits, 4 earned, walked 2, struck out 8. He just continues to be better, I think, than his numbers indicate. And honestly, there was a period of time where, we would wonder what would the Diamondbacks do during this kind of stretch, losing Gallen, losing Merrill Kelly. We thought with the acquisition of Jordan Montgomery, he would be the one to step up and fill in that role. And he really isn't, but Brandon Pfaadt luckily is. I mean, at least he's there's a sense of stability in the starting rotation right now just due to Brandon Pfaadt. Everything else kind of volatile with the injuries and everything, but Brandon Pfaadt still going out there and doing the thing. And I mean, again, like you said, if he can figure out a way to possibly, once those things start going wrong, figure out how to get things back on track, because he threw a couple of balls right down the middle in that big inning, and that seemed to be
wasn't like all a fluke. It wasn't like, the Mets just happened to string together.
They figured him out, or he's tipping his pitches or something. No, he started throwing meatballs, and you can't do that to guys like JD Martinez and not have them make you pay for it. But another guy that you can't throw much to in yesterday's game was Ketel Marte, without having him turn it, just absolutely mash it. Ketel Marte is our king snake for this game. The man was incredible. 2 home runs, and I think Gabriel Ferreira brought up a great point here. 3 for 3 in yesterday's games, 2 home runs. He bookcased the game. He leads things off in the beginning of the game with a home run, and then he hits the game-winning home run in the 9th inning. It was just a super heroic effort from Ketel. 3 RBI, 1 walk. And Gabriel says it. He says right here, can we talk about Marte almost murdering the same woman twice? Like, what did she say to him? That's a fact. For those of you that might have not noticed on the broadcast, Ketel's first home run,
it hit her in the face,
actually struck a woman in the face. And then his home run in the 9th inning went after the same woman, Jesse. He was like, that is the person I'm taking out today. It was amazing. I wouldn't even be there after the first home run, let alone stay there for the second run. But there's obviously beef between Ketel and her. What I need, though, is that woman to come to every game and stand in the outfield so that Ketel has that, has that desire.
You want to fly her out to Arizona?
I will personally pay for her airfare.
The D-backs should pay for that if they care about winning.
If you care about winning.
How serious are you as a franchise? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't know that it hit that same woman twice, but I did, when the second he hit that ball, I was like, oh my God, that's the exact same spot he hit it in last.
It was very similar. But it didn't actually hit her the second time.
No,
right?
not the second time.
General
it was like right by her. Yeah, he was going for it though. But like Elise said, she tried to catch it and missed so bad. And that's definitely a good way to explain it. Didn't Cattell almost hit the couple getting married in Chicago last year? Yes. Remember that? They were out there in the stands having like a we talked about like if you were there at a game, watching a game, and all of a sudden someone starts getting married in front of you. Could you imagine that? But anyway, all right. Well, the Diamondbacks do have a series coming up here with the San Francisco Giants. And hopefully Cattell Marte can find somebody in the outfield over there it's here at Chase Field that he wants to murder potentially. But let's take a look at the Giants and the year they've had up to this point, because the Giants, they've been a little bit of a problem. They're struggling too, though. They're going through their own injuries. Blake Snell left the start against the Yankees with an apparent injury. They are right now 29-31 with a -29 run differential. They are 5-5 in their last 10. Starting pitching ERA, relief pitching ERA, neither one of those very good. 4.47 for starting pitching, 4.42 for relief pitching. Oddly enough, they are ranked 23rd in both of those categories in MLB. They have a team OPS of 693, which is good for 15th, and they are tied for 6th with 9 outs above average. So they have been a very good team defensively. Outside of that, though, not a lot. Not a lot to get too excited about. This is a team, once again, right now, they have played some good baseball this year, but haven't been playing good baseball lately. And this might be another one of those opportunities for the Diamondbacks to catch a team at the right time.
Yeah, this is a big week for the Diamondbacks. Like, huge. You've got 3 here against the Giants, which is a team it appears you're going to be in direct competition with for possibly the rest of the season. You've got the Padres this weekend for 4 games, a team that doesn't have Yu Darvish or Joe Musgrove at this point. So, a good opportunity there. And then you've got the Angels and the White Sox coming to Chase Field next week. So this next couple of weeks is a good opportunity for the D-backs to kind of make a move. Granted, we've said that a number of times on the show at this point, and it hasn't necessarily gone the way that you might have hoped it would. But yeah, the Giants are not they're not playing great baseball right now. They just got swept by the New York Yankees. Granted, the Yankees have shown themselves to be a very, very good baseball team. They were number 1 in our power rankings a few days ago for a reason. But the Giants they took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies before that, another team that has obviously been playing really well. So yeah, this is a big opportunity for them to kind of come in and beat a team that is right there with them in the standings and probably will be for most of the season.
Well, it's a big week because of the National League West opponents, but then after that, things get substantially easier for this team. Now, I've been very careful about the language that I've used in regards to these series against teams that aren't playing good baseball, right? I've just said that they've been winnable, and they definitely have some winnable series here coming up in the month of June, including the White Sox, the Angels, and
the Nationals after that. Yeah. Then it's the Phillies. Then it gets a little
right. But I mean, they definitely have an opportunity to at least take care of business against teams that they very much can take care of business against. They have a little bit of relief coming in the form of Geraldo Perdomo should be returning by this series coming up with the Padres. Hopefully we'll see Perdomo back by then. Alec Thomas shouldn't be too far behind him. And then hopefully we start talking about some starting pitchers returning. But right now we still don't know. We still don't have an update on Alec Thomas and when he's actually going to be returning. We were just told he was 10 to 12 days behind Perdomo, but we don't know if that's still necessarily the case. Right. But again, this is an opportunity for this team to take care of business when this part of the schedule comes up. It hopefully, doing what they did in New York, even in the loss, even in the game where they scored 9 runs, allows them to kind of open things up here a little bit and understand what they're capable of. We really haven't seen that translate over when they have those big scoring outputs to them being able to do that for a consistent period of time.
Yeah. The consistency is something that the Diamondbacks have lacked pretty much from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
They had a pretty good series against the Rockies, and then they took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, and then since then they just have not really strung any kind of consistent run together. Looking at the Giants a little bit closer, I know we were talking before the show about how the Giants roster is just not especially interesting, which I don't.
They're
I don't mean
swagless, Jesse.
That's
what we were talking about.
Yeah, I guess that's the right way to put it.
They are swagless. Look at their team.
Has more swag in his little pinky than the entire organization does right now.
And so does J Mart.
Yeah,
like
J Mart. Don't even.
The Giants don't have any swag. No one's cool. Like, they're so mid. Look at their position players.
It's ridiculous.
Does that move you?
No.
I think Patrick Bailey is probably one of the more exciting young position players. He's obviously a really good defender and has an 819 OPS. Patrick Bailey's come out and had a pretty good season for himself. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, it's Wilmer Flores, it's Tyro Estrada, it's Mike Yastrzemski. They're also pretty banged up right now. They don't have Lamont Wade Jr. right now. He's had a really good
night Lamont.
No more late night Lamont, at least not for right now. Michael Conforto, I believe, is going to return from the injured list today. So this would be his first series back. I do think we'll see him. They do have Jorge Soler as well. Of course, they acquired him over the offseason, someone we talked about as a potential target for the D-backs. But Jorge Soler has just not really hit up to this point in the season. His OPS is under 700. So yeah, it hasn't really worked the way the Giants hoped it would, to say the least. Blake Snell is at least appears to be headed back to the injured list with another groin issue. He also, when he has been on the mound, has just not been the same guy. He has an ERA over 9, and he has yet to complete 5 innings in a start this season. So in some ways, it's kind of impressive that the Giants are still kind of right in the thick of the playoff picture. In the same way that the Diamondbacks are.
The reason why is because I think they are a team like the Diamondbacks where they don't. You look at the roster and it's not going to move you. You look at their stats. Their stats aren't blowing you away. But they're a team that finds a way to win, and they have different people that contribute. And the Diamondbacks right now are getting that. That's kind of that's what's been so odd about this season is that the Diamondbacks have had guys contribute, but it just wasn't together collectively like we saw the contributions this weekend during this series with the Mets. We really did see them finally, getting those big hits at times with guys on base and having more than one guy have a good day versus, what we've seen out of this stretch where this team has been struggling. Damon brought up Justin Martinez, and I just want to go back and talk about what an incredible weekend he had in New York in front of his parents, going out there, giving this team multiple innings of relief the way he did, not allowing any runs to be scored, and lowering his ERA to 0.44 on the season. The one thing that they were talking about on the broadcast was how much lately, managers and people from opposing teams have come up to members of the Diamondbacks organization and asked, who the hell is this guy? Where did this guy come from all of a sudden?
Right. Your bullpen isn't normally like this, right?
Like he was still throwing 99 miles an hour in his last pitch, and it was a sinker? Yeah, that's right. Oh, man, that's wild stuff. So Justin Martinez continues to be the savior right now of this bullpen. And speaking of saviors, God bless Paul Sewald coming back, because the man...
He's been good.
The man has been good, and I swear to God, I don't know how. Like, I don't know how. I don't know how he just does it with 2 pitches. I don't know how he just brings this sense of stability, but the dad of the bullpen is back, and things are hopefully going the Diamondbacks' way here. Big series, though, with the Giants.
It's all about vertical approach angle with Paul Sewald there. We've discussed this before.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you right now, Steve Gilbert rolling around in his grave right now, listening to you talk about vertical approach angle.
Going back to J Mart real quick, we do have a numbers don't lie factoid. Am I allowed to do numbers don't lie?
Of course you are. Who am I? Right. I mean, I would be a liar if I would say that you couldn't do that, because you really can do anything you want on this show, and I really can't do much to stop you. But even though I might lie, of course, numbers don't lie. So Jesse, what do you got for the numbers don't lie?
Yeah, the number is simply the number 1.
Okay.
And the number 1 represents the number of extra base hits that Justin Martinez has allowed this season in 20 2/3 innings pitched.
One extra base hit.
It's absolutely
God,
absurd. And that's the thing that I think people can miss with Justin Martinez. It's not just the nasty swing and miss stuff. It's the fact that guys aren't really squaring up the ball when they are putting it in play. And that is a lot of that has to do with the sinker that he added this season, that he apparently worked with Fernando Rodney, Diamondbacks legend. Fernando Rodney apparently had a role in teaching him how to throw that sinker. And It's remarkable. Like J Mart last season, we talked about one of his weaknesses being that his fastball, while it was 100 and whatever miles an hour, was very straight, and that hitters at this level were going to be good enough to still hit it, if they were able to time it up well. The sinker is very different. It's still about 101, 102 miles an hour, but it's not straight at all. In fact, It has a pretty wild movement profile with not only a lot of downward bite, but a crazy amount of horizontal movement as well. Yeah. And it's just, it's made Justin Martinez, like at this point, he has 4 pitches technically between the slider, the splitter, the four-seamer, and the sinker. The sinker has to be at least a plus pitch, if not much more than that. The splitter is probably a plus pitch at this point. The slider is probably a plus. Like the stuff at this point is just off the charts, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that in games.
Well, I'll tell you this much: Fernando Rodney is still inexplicably finding ways to help this bullpen be better.
There you go.
I don't know how he does it, but the man just does it. We do appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate Groundhog Mama. She said, finally, a number that makes us happy. She also completely abandoned her son's show to watch our show, so we appreciate that as well. We promise we won't tell Cox. Actually, I might have just done that. I don't know. I think maybe I just did. Anyway, we thank you guys for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Of course, especially if you're missing a show that your son is on. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever our wonderful shows on this network go live. And of course, drop us a like. Jerry P, back very soon. He's just telling you, just wait till I get back is what he's saying. But if you're listening on the audio podcasting side of things, we appreciate you guys so much as well. Please make sure you're subscribed over there on your favorite podcasting app, and also leave us a review. We always appreciate those 5-star reviews quite a bit. Of course, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM Sportsbook yet, what are you waiting for? Do so now. If you're a new user, you can sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created account. Use our bonus code of PHNX. When you do, you place your first bet, and if that bet loses, you will receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. If that bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Of course, now is a great time for baseball fans to get down on the BetMGM Sportsbook. They have their Grand Slam Jackpot promotion, which is a weekly bet and get promotion. All you got to do is place $10 wager on any player to hit a home run. Should the player hit a grand slam on the weekend, that's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you will win your share of a daily prize of $50,000. You could win the whole thing, or your share of that prize with every other winning bettor. So
Christian Walker
gave you possibly $50,000.
If you bet on him like plus 300 something to hit an anytime home run, you'd have gotten a share of that $50K. It's that simple at BetMGM.
It's that simple. It really is. And come on, grand slams aren't hit every day, so maybe other people slept on it, and you are the only one that bet on Christian Walker for that. You get that whole $50,000 prize yourself. Of course, sign up right now for BetMGM. Use that bonus code of PHNX and place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the Sportsbook mobile app for at least $10. You will receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. Check out the show notes for full details, and now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Bonus bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Well, big shout out to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring the count. Of course, shout out to them for being Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union for more than 84 years. They've been dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and by giving back to me. They got me started on my home ownership journey. They get you hopefully started as well. You can look to Desert Financial for checking and savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. When you open a free checking account online, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Well, things are turning around for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and of course, you know what that means. It means that every year is still our year, right? And every month on this show is still Black History Month. Every month on this show is still Women's History Month. And of course, every month on this show is Black Women's History Month. Every week is Shark Week. Every single day is Earth Day because we recycle. And of course, on Mondays, you know what we do. We go to the mailbag. Damon, let's hit it.
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox.
Did really say that I should be the Mega Ran of this show or something like that in our team meeting earlier?
I do think
that made me sick. Yeah. That part made me like, I get enough of that guy. Are you kidding me?
You're gonna have to tell Megaran that. He's gonna throw that in your face.
I am definitely gonna tell him that. But of course, we got our Mailbag Monday questions. Damon, what do we got in the mailbag today?
First question, not from Travis Moore. Do you feel bad about that?
Well, no, because Travis Moore, unfortunately, he asked a question that we already answered, but I think he might have missed it because it was a Die Hard only episode. So I'm not sure if Travis is in fact a Die Hard or not. I think I did just give him a good reason, though, to sign up for a Die Hard membership so that he can go back and watch that episode and see his question get answered.
The Cal Ripken streak is over.
Oh, I mean, it was already over. I ruined that earlier. I'm a bad manager. Sometimes I sit guys, even when they're hot, just like Tori does. What do you got from Solario, though?
Our guy, Solario, said to Derek, did you always know your mustache had mythical powers?
Well, I've learned very quickly over the last 2 years that my hair does have some sort of witchcraft-like powers over baseball. I can't explain it. Most people can't explain it. Jesse definitely couldn't explain it. If I could really express to you how frustrated he was with how good Lourdes was doing last year when I dyed my hair purple, you would think that this man like sincerely just hates me for my ability to make this team, catch fire. But no, I didn't know that my mustache being on or off would create any kind of magic for this team. I should have known though, because it was a playoff stash and we know what they did in the playoffs last year. So it's gone now though. Well, hopefully things have been corrected and hopefully I'll get to grow it back again this postseason. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, Solario, now we all know about the magical healing powers of my mustache.
How healing? Now it can heal. It can. Heal,
I mean, it healed the offense, Jesse. Can you not? Is it not? I'm not saying I'm going to sprinkle it on a wound and you're going to magically seal back up, but I'm saying like, yes, there are some healing properties to my mustache. Is all I'm saying. What else we got, Damon?
Next question comes from Michael Rokicki. He asks, should we be talking about a gold glove for Ketel? Eye test wise, it seems like this is his best year defensively.
I do feel like Ketel is putting everything together this year. And not only that, he is also absolutely hilarious to watch while he's playing that gold glove defense. But no, he truly has been an entertaining player. But more than that, he has been an incredibly well-rounded player for this team this year. Defensively, he's been solid. Offensively, we know what he has done. But yeah, I think that this has been one of his better years defensively.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good point. Ketel Marte, as of right now, is second in the National League among second basemen in outs above average, trailing only Thairo Estrada, who we'll see play in this series against the Giants. However, Estrada has -6 defensive runs saved. That metric does not like him nearly as much to Ketel Marte's 9 defensive runs saved. So Ketel is leading the National League, all National League second baseman in DRS, and he is second in the National League among second basemen in OAA. Based on those numbers, I think he is probably the rightful front runner for the Gold Glove right now. This could be a pretty big year for Ketel in terms of those awards. I mean, I believe I checked yesterday, he has the highest OPS of any second baseman in the game right now. A couple of other guys have started a little bit slower. So even though Ketel, I think it's like an 832 or something, his OPS was much higher a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, this could be a silver slugger. There's some silver slugger potential there. There's some Gold Glove potential. And as far as the All-Star game is concerned, his case there looks pretty strong at this point too.
If he doesn't win the Silver Slugger, we get our pitchforks and our torches and we take down Major League Baseball.
You and Elise at the same exact moment. Elise said if Ketel isn't an all-star this year, we riot.
Oh,
both
absolutely.
Are talking
yeah,
about
I mean that's a given. But like there's no way there's gonna be someone playing second base hitting better than him in the National League.
Ozzy Albies last year was pretty comparable, but he has not hit to that level this season so far.
Must be nice to be in that lineup too.
In the Braves lineup, you don't feel
out a little bit without Ronald Acuna.
Yeah, but last year Ozzy Albies was hitting like 6th, wasn't he like kind of not really hitting that well for average, but his power numbers were fantastic.
He hit 270 last year. His average was
solid.
Was good. Yeah.
Ketel Marte, do you think he will drive his car to Texas just so that he has the flashiest, most awesome car at the All-Star game?
No.
No.
I think
there's
he's
your
gonna
answer.
Fly.
He's gonna fly his car out. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe he'll fly his
the car out.
Yeah, that actually is the most likely outcome.
All right.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
What else we got there, Damon?
Our next question comes from Jacob Schull, and he asks, is it time to start Blaze at third over Gino? Also, don't you guys feel every time Gino comes up to the plate, he is going to find a new way to strike out? 18 Ks in his last 15 games.
I will say in regards to that second part, yes, I do feel like Gino, I mean, I don't know. I would love to see Gino strike out looking maybe a little bit more. I would see Gino like at least, I mean, just being more patient up there for sure. But
did you really just say you'd like to see him strike out like in a different manner moving forward?
Yeah,
like,
basically is what I was saying.
Strikeouts are okay.
Yeah,
you just want to change the format a little bit.
Overall, he's actually, I mean, he's not good, but he's not as bad as you would think. As far as ranking goes of most strikeouts in Major League Baseball, he has 65 right now. He is tied for 17th as far as most strikeouts, but there are a lot of big names on that list above him that have more strikeouts than him. Randy Arozarena right now, Giancarlo Stanton, Teoscar Hernandez, Paul Goldschmidt. Right now, Ellie De La Cruz leads all of baseball in strikeouts with 83. So, I mean, as frustrating as it's been, because I do think Gino was the solution to a problem the Diamondbacks sincerely had at third base, and now he's proving not to be nearly as solid of a solution as we thought he was going to be. I feel like everything kind of gets, I guess, highlighted or enhanced a little bit more. He is just a frustrating player to watch this year, because even you could tell even he's frustrated, and he's definitely not having the season anyone expected him to have, including himself.
Yeah, it has been interesting. I mean, you mentioned he's not actually that high up in terms of strikeouts around the league after leading the league the past couple of years. His strikeout rate this year is 28.3%, which is actually his lowest mark since 2018. So it hasn't really been a strikeout issue as much as it is just he's just not really hitting the ball all
lack
that
of production
hard when he puts the ball in play. I look at his am I allowed to quote ex-Wobacon? Normally I'd call it ex-Wobacon, but in order to make it easier for you to deal with
it
does have the word.
I do like
the
when
word
you say
bacon is in there.
ex-Wobacon. I do like that, actually.
That's basically, so people might be familiar with WOBA, which is just like a hitting stat that reads like an on-base percentage. It's a good stat. Then there's ex-WOBA.
Weighted on-base
average, yeah. And then there's ex-WOBA, which is just the exact same thing, but based on your batted ball metric. So it's sort of what was expected, what your expected WOBA is. And then there's ex-Wobacon, which is the exact same concept, but it's your ex-WOBA on contact, only when you put the ball in play. So it separates out your strikeouts and your walks, and it's just like how much damage are you expected to do when you're putting the ball in play. And for Gino, that number is 333 this year, which is very, very low. Last year it was 418. The year before that it was 446. It has never been lower than 343 in his career. This is the lowest mark of his career. So all that to say, when Gino puts the ball in play, he is doing considerably less damage this season than he did a year ago. That's really been the difference for him, more so than the strikeouts.
So the other part of Jacob Schultz's question is, should we maybe turn to Blaze Alexander to potentially play some third base over there? Maybe, the Diamondbacks think about, once Jordan Lawler's ready, perhaps turning to him. Are these options you think the team's going to explore?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we did see Blaze play third base yesterday. They had Gino in at DH.
That's insane, by the way. It's not his defense that's the problem. And I know Torrey just wanted to get him a day off his feet.
Yeah, it was a day off his feet.
That's fine though. But Gino right now is not contributing enough offensively for him to be in there at DH, in my opinion. That's what was crazy. Like, if you're going to give him a day off, just give the man a full day off. Maybe that's what he needs at this point. He doesn't get many. He doesn't like them, right? He doesn't like taking days off.
He
played all 162
last year. Yeah, he might not have been willing to take a full day off, or I don't know. But Blaze has cooled off offensively recently. I know he had a couple hits in the Saturday game. He had another hit, a double in the Sunday game. So he's continued to be like somewhat steady, but you're looking at a 744 OPS at this point. It's not. He finished April with a 941 OPS, so it has come down quite a bit since then. His expected numbers are not very good. Still suggests that he's been actually pretty fortunate to have the numbers that he does. So I don't think it's an obvious decision But I don't think it's an unreasonable proposal. D-backs should maybe look at giving him some reps at third base. But I'm guessing they're not at that point yet. I think the leash with Gino is still probably a little bit longer than where we are so far.
All right. What else we got there, Damon?
Next question comes from AZ Sports Girl 224, and she asks, when Perdomo and Alec return, who do you guys think will get sent down?
Great question. This is getting harder and harder to answer.
Yeah. These are tough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's my simple answer. Like, I really don't know. Do you think
they reduce the number of bullpen arms, or is that going to stay exactly where it's at?
That's got to stay where it's at. I think you need your 5 starters. You need your 8 guys in the bullpen, especially with how few guys, or how few experienced guys the D-backs have in their rotation at this point. I don't think you want to shrink down your bullpen at this stage in the season in particular. So, yeah, you're probably going to be sending out position players, and those decisions aren't obvious. I mean, with Perdomo, it's probably either Kevin Newman or Blaze Alexander. Mm-hmm. And with Alec Thomas, it's probably either Pavin Smith or, I don't know if I can even say Jake McCarthy at this point, because he's been one of the better hitters on this team. So I guess Pavin is probably the easier, just logically kind of working it out. Pavin would sort of make sense with Alec, but Perdomo is hard to say. Do the D-backs want Kevin Newman to stick around and kind of move positions and be the sort of backup depth guy? Do they value getting Blaze everyday reps, as they said back in spring training, and they want to send him down for that reason?
That would make a lot of sense, especially defensively, not to mention the fact that they know what they have out of him. They can start coaching him now in a different way to potentially fill needs that the major league roster had, whereas that probably wasn't the approach to his development when he was down before, right? So there are things that now he can truly hone in on and focus on improving, so that if that opportunity presents itself, or, hey, if Kevin Newman doesn't play good baseball, they could easily turn to Blaze and switch
Newman.
that.
Yeah, Newman's offense has slowed down a little bit, right, over the last couple of weeks. He still has a 94 OPS plus, which is pretty decent for an infielder, given kind of his role coming into the year. So I could see them going either route as far as Perdomo is concerned. We'll have to see what Torrey has to say about that here over the next few days.
All right. What else we got there, Damon?
Next question comes from Skeletor the Great, and he says, given the multitude of pitching injuries, do you expect a call-up for Cristian Mena soon?
It's a good question. Cristian Mena is a very interesting case, because he has been extremely good for the Reno Aces. And we have said it on probably, I feel like half of the episodes we've done. We've talked about how difficult it is to hit in Reno, or to pitch in Reno, and how easy it is to hit, right? So when you see the numbers that Mena's putting up in that league, it's very tempting to think of him as an option. I think he's close, but I think he might have gone in from an interesting prospect the Diamondbacks traded for to now being a big part of this organization's future. I mean, I would start labeling him as that at this point, considering what he's been able to do consistently this year. So I don't know. I mean, I do think that the Diamondbacks are willing to give a lot of guys opportunities, and I think that he is moving closer and closer to potentially being one of those choices. If the Diamondbacks get themselves into a predicament where one of the guys that is here now filling a starting rotation spot gets injured or goes down or really struggles, no, it would not be a surprise to me at all to see Mena get called upon, because the Diamondbacks are quickly running out of options.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you feel like several starters in this rotation don't necessarily have a tight hold on that spot, right? Like Blake Walston is going to be making his second start in this series. We'll see how that goes. Slade Ciccone obviously just came back up, was good, but D-backs are certainly going to want to see him continue to make progress. Ryan Nelson has obviously had his share of struggles this year as well. So because of that, I have to believe that Cristian Mena, he could be not that far away from getting up into the majors, depending on how those other guys perform. I feel pretty confident saying he will pitch for the team at some point this year. Between now and the end of the season, you figure that opportunity will rise for him eventually. But he has, he gave up 7 runs in his start yesterday. He started out strong and had
probably
a
his
couple
worst
of
start
innings.
of the year, right?
Yeah. He had never given up 7 runs in a start this season. He did give up 6 back on April 11th over 4 innings. So he hasn't been quite as sharp the last couple times out, but certainly a part of this team's future. He's still only 21 years old, and in AAA is really impressive to be at the level he's at. So it's probably only a matter of time, but I wouldn't say it's like, oh, he's certainly going to be up in the next week or two or whatever. At some point this season, but not necessarily right away.
All right. Well, of course, a great time to pause is to enjoy a Four Peaks beer. We saw so many of you guys went out to help break this curse, to help break the slump the Diamondbacks
That's
were
fair.
in.
Yeah, I don't think maybe it
wasn't my
your
mustache.
didn't have
Maybe
a
it was
darn thing to do with this.
Yeah, it was the group outing to Four Peaks for chicken tendies that really did it. So we thank you, our diehards, for doing that. And of course, make sure to check out all of the wonderful beers Four Peaks has to offer. When you go to the Four Peaks location, it is like a heavenly display of all of the wonderful beers they have on tap. You can try them all out, including their brand new Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale, which you can now also get in stores as well. So make sure to check that super drinkable beer out. It's the perfect companion at the tea box or in your fridge. Of course, visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. Check out at Four Peaks Brewer or at Four Peaks Pub on social to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. Of course, another great way to help break this whole slump that the Diamondbacks are in is going out and seeing some baseball games, unless you're Elizabeth in New York, which that's debatable whether we should be allowing you to go watch this team on the road. However,
isn't that over now?
I feel like it's over, but she was there for a lot of the games, so I don't know how to feel about that. I felt like there were a lot of magical powers fighting each other. It wasn't the two teams on the field at Citi Field in New York. This was like curses and anti-curses and reverse jinxes all fighting each other out, and somehow the Diamondbacks end up with a split. But if you want to get in on all the magical entertainment that these curses provide, you can do so through Game Time. Save up to 60% off by buying tickets last minute for sporting events, for concerts, comedy, and so much more. You can even save more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. So procrastinators, rejoice. This is your day to save, and save big. Of course, you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats for you if you're not picky. I'm not picky. I just want to sit and watch a good event. Sometimes it's last minute. Beggars can't be choosers sometimes, right? But you'll save even more if you let them choose for you. Of course, they do have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Bees is in the chat asking if we are back. We're back because Bees is here. And we mean that both because of bees and the actual bees in the air that might be around. But of course, I know we have some more Mailbag Monday questions. Damon, what do we got?
Yeah, next question comes from Brandon Buckingham, and he asks, how many games in a row do we need to see the offense show up to feel comfortable trusting the fellas?
Damon, what do you think about this one?
This feels like a Damon question.
This does feel like a Damon question.
Wow. That's a lot of pressure.
I just needed to turn it, reverse jinx it, if you will, back on you. But no, seriously, like how many, like when can, I know we declare that we're back pretty fast, right? Corbin goes 2 for 5.
Obviously,
he's
yes.
back, obviously. The team wins 2 in a row, we're back, right? That all of this makes sense. But like, when do you truly feel like you could see the Diamondbacks, you can regain your trust in them and feel confident that this team might be on a roll?
It's a tricky question, I think, right? Because baseball is a sport where like one-off games happen all the time. You could be playing the worst team. You could be playing the White Sox and get
Score
no
100.
hit.
Yeah, get no hit.
So, and I don't think if you were scoring 8 runs on average in all the rest of your games over a 10-game stretch, I wouldn't say your offense has been bad because that one game. So
sure.
I think it's more just about consistency than anything, right? Like you want to see them putting up at least like in like the 5s, like in that range, like
5+ runs.
Yeah, good run outings where your pitchers, if they hypothetically pitch an average game, you're giving yourself a chance to win.
Yeah.
So if I see them start scoring over 5 consistently for like a good 2-week stretch, I'll feel pretty good.
Yeah. Win or lose, basically, is what you're saying there.
But granted, the pitching could go on the opposite pendulum there, and then we would be like Yeah, they stink.
And that's what it felt like, especially in game 2, right? We finally have a game where the offense, after struggling for a week, wakes up and the pitching
anyway.
gives up 10 runs, right?
Yeah,
so, like, it's frustrating. And, yeah, there's some things that if you want to look at even the wins that you could take away, right? The Diamondbacks were down. They needed Ketel's heroic 9th-inning home run in order to win the finale and split the series. So it's not like they were dominant wins. Maybe Saturday's was a little dominant, you could say. Slade was very good. The bullpen came in and took care of business. But, I mean, they still allowed a lot of runs over the series to the Mets. And, again, I do feel like in regards to the question, it's about their ability to consistently produce. And you're like Damon said, you're not going to do it every single game. You're going to have, your 1 or 2 games. But what I'd like to see them not do is score 6 runs over 5 games again, like they did, or whatever it was. It was like 9 runs in 7 games.
That's happened far too often this season.
They've had just such a terrible stretch here where the offense doesn't produce at all, and they lose some games that they were still in. Like, even with the lack of production, they've still lost some 1-run games, some 2-run games. We've talked about them being down by 2 runs or more, just essentially being their Achilles heel this season. But
they're going to need it. They're really going to need this lineup to start pulling their weight coming up here because of Gallen and because of Merrill and Erod. Like, this, look at the rotation right now. It doesn't look very good on paper. I think the best we can hope for essentially is average pitching. So we're going to need our lineup to be above average if we want to win these baseball games. So I'm thinking that they're going to have to step up here.
I give them a lot of credit for the fact that a lot of this has happened since the Gallen injury. It did feel like the offense kind of, I didn't hear about any team meetings or anything like that where they particularly addressed it, but it did feel like the offense finally realized the gravity of the situation and that they need to get their shit together in order to get through this, because they are going to be missing some really good arms for a while. I mean, even if Gallen's just gone for the 2 weeks, that's still 2 weeks without Zach Gallen. That's 2 starts missed. It's still more pressure that's put on the pitching staff as a whole, the bullpen, the younger guys that are expected to go out there and now maybe give a little bit longer outing than they are normally expected to, or whatever the case may be, just to hopefully balance out the current loss of personnel with Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and everybody. Not to mention the fact that Jordan Montgomery was not very good at all in his last outing, and they really need him to step up and kind of be the guy that they were expecting to bring into the starting rotation and kind of replicate what he did in the second half last year with the Rangers.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to add. I mean, I don't know. They've averaged 8 runs for the last 3 days. So
do that.
Average 8 runs for 2 weeks, and then there you
now
go.
We're talking.
D-backs
now we're talking.
back.
I love it, Jesse.
All right. Well,
at least we have Brandon Pfaadt, boys.
Yeah, we do have.
We'll
Brandon
always
Pfaadt.
have Brandon Pfaadt.
We'll always have Brandon Pfaadt. Big game, Brandon.
Well, you have him for 5 more seasons.
Why are you like this?
Jesse?
Why are you like this?
It felt so on brand for me to say something
really
like that
did.
I had to stick
You
with
nailed
it.
Next question comes from Karen McCarthy, and he says, or she, specifically which 2 series do you think will finally see a turn through the rotation with Gallen, Kelly, Montgomery, Rodriguez, and Pfaadt?
Derek laughs.
That's hilarious. Never? Is the answer never applicable? I'm starting to feel like never is the right answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think never is an unreasonable answer, if I'm being totally honest, just given like, you get one guy back, but then the way that things have gone this season, it feels like it's sort of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe like 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah,
really,
that's actually
that's really how it's
that's the way to put it.
If you play it out on paper, though, like Tori said yesterday, I believe that Eduardo Rodriguez is expected to return roughly around the All-Star break. Merrill Kelly is behind Eduardo Rodriguez as far as we know. Maybe by a couple weeks or so. That's sort of a rough estimate. So, yeah, you could have, Gallen, you're not expecting to miss a whole lot of time. That could be just the minimum 15 days or in relatively short order after that. But then you've got Erod All-Star break. You've got Merrill maybe a couple weeks behind that. So I guess, yeah, sometime in August, like, I don't know, the Pirates and the Guardians series at the beginning of August. But the reality is we really don't know.
I am going to say, I'm going to give you a specific series. It's before that.
Yeah. What do you got?
July 26th against Pittsburgh Pirates. After the All-Star break.
Put your flag in it, Derek.
I'm putting my flag down. The Pirates and then the Nationals after that.
Okay.
That is when we will see the return of the full starting rotation. And then something terrible is going to happen, and we won't see it again for the rest of the year.
You'll see it once. You'll see it one
Just
time
one time through the rotation.
And then they're
I'm
all
not gonna lie, that got me off guard. But that was good, Derek.
It's what it feels like with this team this season. I'm not going to lie.
We are Arizona sports.
We
fans
are
at the end of the
Arizona
day.
sports. Of course, we have nothing left inside to feel, right? All right, what else we got, Damon?
Next question comes from Ryan, and he asks, do you think a contract to Matt Hilton would benefit this team in some way? At least that man can be dependable in clutch situations.
You did not.
You
hit
read that terribly.
Yeah.
That was
At
awesome.
least that man can be dependable in clutch situations. It's the right way to say it.
You're right. I failed.
Matt, I'm going to tell you this. Matt Hilton should be the team's like exterminator, right? Like he should handle all bug related.
Well, he's already the team's exterminator, right?
Is he though? Is he that?
I guess like the day-to-day maintenance, like
that's
the
what I'm
stuff
talking about,
outside
yeah.
and whatnot.
But you need to make a special deal out of it, right? You need to have like meet and greets with him while he's spraying Chase Field down. The bigger problem I have is that the National Bobblehead Museum is putting out a Matt Hilton bobblehead.
Right. But the D-backs are not.
But the D-backs are not.
Bobblehead.
And that bothers me. That bothers me because that's our thing. And to be fair, the Diamondbacks don't have a lot of things that are our thing, right? We're a young franchise. We don't have a lot of history. A lot of it's connected, obviously, to the 2001 season and a couple of random events. Randy Johnson making a bird literally disintegrate. Things like that. The Haboob. Love the Haboob. That was great. But we don't have a lot. And Matt is our guy. The B thing, that's our thing. So I really am disappointed that Matt Hilton doesn't have a bobblehead with the Diamondbacks. I will say Ketel Marte is getting a bat flip bobblehead, and the bat actually flips, and I just saw that for the first time. Fucking incredible. But I would love, how do we not have Matt Hilton with little bees around him or something? Like what a failed
B says
opportunity.
Matt Hilton is the ops.
Well, yeah, because he's beast. He hates Matt Hilton, of course. I get that. I understand that. He's still a little bitter, and respect. I can get that, beast.
All I needed to see was Matt Hilton and the word contract, in the first few words of this question. The answer is yes.
Yeah,
right?
throw him all the money in the world. The man's. Have you ever seen a more handsome bug exterminator in your life? Because I haven't. Not to mention the fact that the man understood the assignment, right?
He did. He did understand.
The only thing I wish he would have been brought out on like a chariot drawn by horses to get rid of the bees.
The pageantry of it was really unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like the Hunger Games, right? I was expecting him to have an outfit that like lit on fire or something.
He's like ending it like a gymnast ends their routine, like with their hands in the air.
It was amazing.
They should have a beekeeper hat home run celebration. There's no doubt about
I'm still
that.
mad they never incorporated that into it. I think the moment passed, but
yeah,
my understanding, the beekeeper helmet is in the broadcast booth. From my understanding,
you want the vibes up though?
Yeah.
That's how you get the vibes up.
Yeah, that's how you get the vibes up. Yeah. They brought back the vest. Yeah, so
did they?
Yeah, they brought back
guys
the vest.
are wearing it.
Yeah, not in the post game interview. I think they're using it potentially as like their home run celebration, but the vest is back. So the vibes are back. That's why the offense really got going. Forget Elizabeth, my mustache, anybody being there. It's all because of the vest.
I remember after the Matt Hilton incident happened, he came out and was applauded by all 30,000 people in the stands, and it was just like the greatest moment, like one of my favorite moments in a ballpark. It really felt to me like the Diamondbacks were going to win that game, right? And I know that it didn't look that way. They were down in I believe it was the 10th inning, and Christian Walker hit that 2-run homer to win the game. It was like, yeah, well, of course he did. You can't have that Matt Hilton moment happen and then not win the baseball game.
It would have been
the way it felt.
It would have been unbelievable.
All right, let's move on.
All right, what do we got, Damon?
That's enough.
I got him. What do we got?
Our guy Tim with the next question says, in a 3-way tag team match, who would win, the D-backs radio broadcast, the D-backs TV broadcast, or the PHNX D-backs crew? Who are the surprise guests? Does Greg Schulte pin Jesse for the win?
Jesse had the audacity to ask me before the show what a tag team match was. I need to pull back the curtain.
That
on
was pretty unreal.
It really was kind of sickening.
Am I the only one here who doesn't know what a tag team match is?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, you are.
Absolutely,
yes, you are.
Jesse.
All right. Well,
That's
that answers that question.
Right. I don't even need to get into like the differences between that and a 6-man tag, even though there are 6 men in this tag. This one's different. This is a 3-way tag team match. There could also 6-man could mean 3 men on both sides. It could mean each team has 6. It's very confusing. Teddy Long usually
Derek.
explains it. Right.
Enough.
But really, when it comes down to the tag team, I will dumb it down. Really, what he's talking about here is you and me in a wrestling match against essentially Chris Garagiola and Tom Candiotti on one side.
Yeah.
And then Bert and I'm assuming, are we going Gonzo or do I get to fight Bob Brenly? Which one are we going with here?
I think
Gonzo?
Bob Brenly is
Bob
sort of
Brenly?
the- I think it's gotta be Bob.
I mean, in pro wrestling, older guys usually are more powerful than younger guys. That's kind of the way it works anyway. So I'm sure he would come in with a big elbow or something like that. Now, Greg Schulte, that's a surprise guess because Greg Schulte right now wouldn't technically be part of the team, but he could be a manager for the radio broadcast team, which then you would have to watch out for Greg Schulte quite a bit because he's outside of the ring. He's cheating to win. He's grabbing your ankle when you bounce against the ropes and stuff. There's a lot there. If I'm really getting down to it, I think that it would come down to Jesse getting beat up a lot in this match and then me making the hot tag and winning the match because that's just the way that tag team matches are typically structured.
I felt so disrespectful.
I know, like there would, but you would be the baby face. You would be the supreme baby face. Like the crowd would be cheering for you to make the tag to me, but then they wouldn't allow it. Like, right, we'd be like this, like we'd be about to tag each other, and then they'd pull you by your legs back into there, and then beat you up some more, and then eventually you would land a big move, tag me in, and I clean house, and then Bob Brenly beats me.
There's got to be a portion here where like I come out of the crowd. And like with a chair, and Jesse's getting beat up, but I get in there. I get in the ring.
Schulte. That's what you do.
I get in the ring and I save Jesse.
Yeah.
By just smacking somebody over the
right,
over the
and
back
then
of the head.
That's
with the
when
chair.
it can get down. Now everybody, the referee throws everybody out,
and then
he does that thing. He goes, you're gone, and everybody leaves, and then we have a fair fight in the ring, right? But Bob Brenly has the brass knucks.
I was thinking more. I grab Jesse's limp body, and I carry him over to you so that you guys can tag each other.
That's a good spot.
You tell me that's not a good storyline.
That's incredible. That is incredible. Talk about the teamwork and family that we would like basically be showing. The storyline we'd be telling about how close we were as a team. Oh, I love it. I don't know. I still think Brenly wins this one. That's really what instinctually it feels like it comes down to. But Jesse just smiling and nodding.
Yeah,
during this whole bit.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Bees wants a Hell in a Cells. All right, let's do it. All right, what else we got, Damon? We got one more?
We got one more question, and it is from our friend Karen, and she says, if you could redo/update the Legends race, which 4 players would you choose?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I'm kind of amazed that we haven't had this question.
That is pretty. Yeah,
that's a good one. I feel like we've exhausted almost all of the questions.
Oh yeah,
in this
we've answered
mold.
everything twice at least. But I feel, speaking of, does Greg Schulte make it in as a legend? I know you said players, but would you add Schulte as one of the guys out there racing?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And
then we got to keep Randy, right? Randy has to stay.
I feel like the question is that we're not allowed to have anyone stay. Darren.
Oh, these would be new legends.
I mean, that's the more interesting way to answer this, right? You can't just keep any of the same old people.
Okay, that's fair. Then, all right, Greg Schulte's my first edition. What do you got?
I mean, I guess Paul Goldschmidt.
I knew you were going to do that.
Too soon?
I knew you were going to do that. Yeah.
What about
Derek's gonna fight you? This wrestling match is gonna become reality on the middle of our set because of that.
This is real.
I'm just trying to think through Diamondbacks players that I know were beloved.
Okay.
O-Dog.
O-Dog is a good option. Chris Young.
Yeah.
Justin Upton.
I don't know if he's quite as loved as the others.
He's more. Come on, dude. Chris Young. Justin Upton was an MVP candidate.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying Justin Upton wasn't a better player. I just think Diamondbacks fans, they had like a connection.
People soured on Justin Upton at the end a little bit, but when he was like really hitting, people loved him, man. And I bet you those wounds, they heal over time. No one's that pressed about it anymore. We've moved on a long time ago. At least that's my perspective.
I mean, I guess would that be it? We've got O-Dog, we've got Chris Young, we've got Greg Schulte.
Brandon Webb?
Oh yeah.
Brandon Webb?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Rat Leon?
Yeah.
Get Rat Leon just out there.
Yeah.
A giant rat head.
Retirement.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I don't know. Yeah, Greinke would be great. But if it like Zach says, only if it's the real person. Yeah, it's really Greinke out there. Every race racing him, taking it way too seriously. Greinke has 170 wins compared to everybody else's. Like, that would be incredible.
I think Ryan gives the answer that we probably should have given from the top, and it's Matt Hilton. Matt Hilton has to be in there, right?
Yeah.
How many legends are we allowed to have?
I don't know.
That's way more than
Montero. Archie's a good one.
Archie with the beard would be really good. Like a big old cartoon version of Archie. Yeah. You said that. Who's more beloved than anybody when it comes to Diamondbacks players? You missed out on that one. Archie is the good answer. Good job, Elise. Of course, we know Elise would give that answer because she's a baseball GM and she knows this team better than anybody else. That's all we got. We appreciate you guys, of course, so much for your questions. We appreciate you so much for stopping by. Of course, if you're not a diehard yet, make sure to check out our diehard membership. It's a great time to join the family. Of course, you get all sorts of wonderful benefits, including access to our Discord lounge where we do exclusive diehard content, as well as Jesse's written piece. You also get access to a free t-shirt from PHNXlocker.com, get that membership card and so much more, including discounts to our events and discounts with our partners. So sign up today over at gophnx.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. This maniac next to me is at Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, the people's producer, Damon, is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's Dogs. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much again for stopping by. Going to go watch a little baseball. Chase Field across the street. Hope you guys enjoy and have a good night. We will see you tomorrow. We're doing a post-game show for tomorrow's show, so we will be back here after tomorrow's game. Until then, have a great evening. We thank you guys again for watching. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you're Matt Hilton.
We all silly like the mayor.